So first of all, thank you everyone to attend to my talk. It's a pleasure for me. It's the first time I'm there here in Nigeria. I like, thank you. I like to joke with Nigerian people because I know that guys, you have copied our jollof rice. I'm Senegalese. Jollof rice, we created. It's our product, and you copied it. There to tell you that this is our legacy, right? Let's go now then talking about our topic. From idea to value, step-by-step guide for better outcomes. It can seem a bit, how can I qualify it? Um, uh, as you may already know, I'm a French speaker, so from time to time I can struggle with English words. Help me, Fanny. Prétentieux, ça peut être prétentieux. Meaning it can be, it's kind of disclaimer, meaning if I say a step-by-step guide, it's like there is a set of steps that if you do it, definitely you are going to create value. If I tell you like that, probably I'm oversimplifying. But what I want to share you here is that there are steps that are known that can help any company, any group of people who want to create something that is valuable to their customers, some steps and techniques, I would say even principles, that can help them get that. So let's go. First of all, do you recognize this guy? Who recognize these guys? Or who don't recognize this guy? Can someone talk about him very quickly?
Olympic silver medalist.
It was during the Olympics.
Yes.
I think he got the silver medal,
Yes,
something
silver
like that.
medal, yes.
Because the others came with, a lot of, could say, artifices. But with his techniques and probably experience, he hit the target and get his medal very simply. So when I saw this, it made me laugh a little. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about Olympics. I'm going to talk about product. But when I saw this, it reminded me some similarities between product development and these sports, what we could call precision sports, like archery, for instance. Imagine you have a player, archery, right? They have their arrows, they have their arch, but they are just picking their arrows and throwing like that, without technique, without seeing a clear direction, without bearing in mind the wind and all the parameters that can influence the target. Do you think that those players are going to win? I think the answer is clear. Definitely no. The problem is, yes, this is about archery. This is about sport of precision. But it's like we are doing the same in product development. How many of you have worked on a product that at the end, when you deliver it, it was not that successful? Please raise your hand. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Keep it above, please. How many of you worked in projects that at the end you delivered something, but it was not that valuable? Probably the customer didn't use it. You can see half of the class. So it is something that is very common, right? There is something that is very common, a statistic that we love to share, which is 80% of product features are not used actually by the customers and the users. Users are very often using only 20% of the features. What does it mean? It means that there are 20%, if you deliver only those 20%, you will get the value. People are going to use it. Probably they will like it, and probably you can make profit with your business. But there are 80% of your time and effort you spent building something absolutely no one wants. This is the huge waste. If I link it to the presentation of Nigel this morning, and even Fanny this morning, that's what he was calling waste. Imagine you have a production company. You are working 80% of your times on something products that no one will buy. Do you think that you are going to be successful in the long term? Not at all. So this needs to be, how to call it? This needs to be warning us, because this is a problem, and we need to find ways to go through this. One thing that is creating that, meaning is giving these effects, is that we think that from idea to value, it's a linear process. Meaning I have an idea. During this morning, we heard a lot of good ideas and great insights, but something I heard as well is that we think that I have a good idea, I can deliver it right away and get the value. This is a trap. If you think that the problem, meaning your success depends only on your ideas, finding an idea is very simple. Ideating, we are creative human beings. Finding out ideas, it's something that is simple. But ideas that solve a problem, That's where the problem is, actually. That's what we need to find out. So the link between idea and value is not that linear. It's something that is a bit more complex. You can think that value is over there. You hit it. No, it's not there. You iterate, you try again, you missed it until you get where the value is. So the road is actually complex. We are not going to talk about complexity into details. I will talk about this very simply. This is a framework we call the Kinefin framework to help us understand what is complexity. I will give 3 examples just to make it simple. When I left my home country at the first time, I went to a new country in Morocco. By the way, that's where I'm based since 2 years now, 2 years and a half. The first time I was not with my family, and I'm not very good at cooking. I wanted to cook because every time I was ordering food from outside, I wanted to cook. How did I do? I called my wife. She gave me instructions, and I was repeating exactly the same instructions she was giving me, and at the end, I got the exact same result. What does it mean? There are some problems that are qualified, simple. What does it mean? You don't need, things are predictable. Yes, probably there are some things that can be difficult to manage extra, like me, I didn't know about that. But because I have the instructions, because I have the steps, I can reproduce exactly the exact same steps and get the exact same result. I swear that the lunch or the meal I produced that day, even my wife is not capable of doing that. I was very proud of it. Look at the eyes of that girl. I was very proud of it. What I mean by that is that there are some problems that are qualified, simple, but others are not. Let's give another example. Do you think that if I call a builder or an architect and I told him that I want to build a similar building like this one, just having the instructions and applying it myself, do you think that I'm going to have the same product? Not at all. This is what we call the complicated domain, meaning there are other problems that are not that simple, that needs people who are knowledgeable. Yes, we do have unknowns, but there are some people who master those unknowns, those parameters, and that can help us get the value, get the right product. But there are another type of problem, which is called the complexity. And my goal here is to share with you that product development actually resides in this domain, meaning creating something that adapts to the market, that the user wants, that is technically feasible, that is within our budget, within our schedule. We have a lot of parameters. I can continue listing the parameters until the end of the day, and we want to be completing them, meaning there are a lot of parameters involved. You can have all the knowledge, all the budget, all the teams you want, but you can fail your product. I can give an example. Google. They have something we call a symmetry of products. It's online. Who remember that product is similar to Facebook, Google Circle? It was amazing. Nice piece of innovation. Where is Google Circle right now? No one wants it. Does it mean that Google, they are not good? They are. Does it mean that they don't have the right talents? They have the best talents in the world. They don't have enough budget? They are, I don't need to say what or who Google are, meaning they are wealthy. They do have budget, everything. But they are failing. Means that there are a lot of parameters we can't master. And this framework helps us understand that we are in complexity. And if we are in complexity, we need to behave differently. We need to behave differently. We don't need to think that, yes, I have an idea, let's build a backlog, deliver it, we will be successful, build a multi-billionary or a one-billionary company. If it was that simple, I think all of us, we are going to be multi-billionary. It's not that simple. You can have the great idea, but converting that idea to value is not something that is obvious. I'm not going to give you the solvable solution. Definitely, I don't have it. Otherwise, I will be a multi-billionaire solution. And I'm working on it. But I do have some things, some practices, some techniques that can help. And this is, by the way, the purpose of this talk, how we can identify those 20% that can help us get the value at the end and not spend time on the waste part, which is the 80%. Let's start with the first suggestion. The first one, these are some steps, as I promised you, from idea to value, step-by-step guide for better outcomes. These are steps that we are going to explore, to see together, and you can follow these steps to maximize your chance of getting that value, of creating that value. First of all, the first point, I call it set the direction, define clear goals, explore ideas and validate them, and the final one, deliver, learn, and adapt. We are going to go through them one by one. All right, let's start with this one. Before we go into the details, we need to understand something. I think a lot of talks this morning talked about this. I don't think that I need to go into the details, but we need to have a different thinking. By the way, I have my guests. Where are they? We discussed this topic this morning. There is a big difference between a project mindset, a project approach, and a product approach. Why? When you have a project approach, you are focused on mainly. This is by definition, what a project is. A temporary endeavor, it is from the PMI Institute, you know, with a definite beginning and end. Meaning a project is something that helps you get something out. But you have phases, it's sequential, you do something after another. Sometimes we can call it even a waterfall approach. And at the end, we deliver something, we're done with it. The team is dismissed, the focus is on other objectives, and we hand it over to another team. But the question I need to ask you, do you think that we can build a project, meet the scope, meet the deadlines, and respect the exact budget that was planned and still fail? I think that those who were in Fanny's talk, we already have the answer, but there are others. What do you think? Can we have a project that meets scope, budget, time, everything, schedule, and at the end we have a product that is not working? It's possible. The other way around, can we have a product that when we were building the project, we didn't meet the budget or we didn't respect the schedule, and it became something that is successful? Absolutely, it's possible. So it means that there are two different approaches, and when you want to create value, outcome, when you talk about product, it's about outcome, it's about value. When you want to create value or maximize value, your thinking needs to be different. Let me give you an example. I will give you this example. Who knows this? Sydney Opera. I have never been in Sydney, but I wish I were there because this is a piece of art that is awesome. The history behind this is they plan to build this opera in 4 years. Sorry, I put some things in French. You know, I'm a French speaker natively. In 4 years. But actually, at the end, they built it in 14 years, 10 years later. Bear with me. They had a budget they planned initially, 7 million. After they achieved 100, more than 10 times the initial budget. This is a failed project, if we are in the project way of thinking, right? 100% more hours. Is it a failure? That is the question. But let's see the next slide. When they delivered this, actually, they meet the expectations and get return on investment even very early compared to what they were planning before. Meaning, at the end, this piece of art was valuable. People liked it. They were coming very often to visit it. It brought a lot of tourists in the, in the city. And they got the return on investment after only 2 years. So the question we can ask ourselves is that, is this now a successful product, according to you? Yes, absolutely. It is a successful product. And this is, Fanny is going to see her face. I was not planning, to talk about this. So the next question is, what is value? To answer this question, I'm going to ask you to do a simple exercise, very simple. Do you see these very beautiful faces? You will recognize yourself probably. Nigel is here. Oh, I forgot about it, Mercy. Let's assume that this is Mercy, multi-billionaire. Great. My ask here is that you can pair 2 by 2. I just want you to tell me, let's assume that we were in the Titanic. We are not. It's just a simulation, right, guys? And the Titanic is drowning. Sinking, actually, yes. It's sinking, yes. And suddenly you saw a boat, but only one boat. But that boat has only 2 minutes, let's say 3, to be very generous, 3 minutes to help few people in here. You can't help everyone. You can help at, let's say, 5 people. You can pace between you. I am expecting after the end of the 3 minutes to tell me who are you going to save. You are in the Titanic, Nigel. You have 3 minutes. You can think two by two. After I will ask you to share your thoughts. All right, are you done, guys? Do you know who are you going to save? Great. Let's start with Nigel. I'm curious. Nigel.
This is really easy. I'm going to save the two women because men are replaceable and we can't survive without.
It's like we have what's the name of the actor of Titanic? What's the name of the actor of Titanic? DiCaprio. It's like we have our Leonardo DiCaprio here. Thank you, Nigel. Someone else. You go for it.
So, I said I was going to save Donald Trump, Aliko Dangote, and Fanny. But Fanny
Why?
in being on the same boat with Donald Trump. So, I'll drop Fanny. I'm saving Donald Trump, Aliko Dangote, and my president.
And why Mercy?
Why? Aliko Dangote is Africa's wealthiest.
Let's listen to Mercy.
Africa's number one wealthiest person.
Yes.
At least one of the top 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the richest. I don't know. Number two, I'm saving him is because of Aliko Dangote. Okay, because of Aliko Dangote, fuel prices between an institution, a cabal that has held us hostage. They are now fighting to
Yeah, I
make sure
remember.
fuel is coming down. That's one. I like the
you-
continuity. For my president, the fact that Tinubu is not safe, there will be chaos in my country.
Yeah.
And I can't deal with chaos. I
Great.
need a leader to be able to midwife the conversation.
Thank you, Mercy. It's
Yes.
clear. Thank you. Someone else. One last person. Yes, go for it. Go for it. Let's listen to him, please. Let's listen to him.
Okay. So I'm going to save Messi, Steph Curry, and JJ Okocha. Others, bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. And you played the game. Thank you. That's what I wanted. You can upload yourself, I think. Yes. Thank you. Now, my question is, why do we have different answers, according to you? Yes. Meaning, you do have criteria. You are doing your choices based off what you are valuing at this moment, right? What does it mean? It means that value is something that is very abstract. It can be understood differently, right? It can be understood differently. The same thing can happen. Imagine you are in a company, we give you a document requirement, we tell you to build a product for a specific customer, and you don't know what value you want to bring to that customer. Meaning, internally, you are going to have misalignments. Probably some people are focusing on money, others are focusing on user satisfaction, others are focusing on something else, right? So this needs to be defined. There are some studies that not interviewed, but they sent surveys to a lot of development people, and they asked them the question about what is value, and this is the answer. It's made on purpose. I didn't want you focus on the details, but you can see that they have lot of definition of what a product value is. What does it mean? Imagine having all these parameters, developing your product, while not knowing what value you want to bring to your customer. This is a problem, right? But if you do, before switching to that, this is a code you can't improve. I think, Fanny, you shared this morning. Actually, Fanny, I think when I was building this, you aside me, yeah. The same message you have this morning, I have similar messages. You can't improve what you can't measure, definitely. But I added this one. You can't measure as well what you can't define. If value is abstract to all of you, you can have different targets, and you are not going to get the value at the end. Let's try to do a simple summary of what value, could be the categorization of value, yes. Value can be categorized in 3 main layers, right? The first layer is everything that is regarding the customer. We can summarize it into user satisfaction. And there is something else which is linked to the company, meaning everything related to money. So value, to make it simple, I think even there is a slide explaining that more easily. Value in terms of the customer, you can have different ways. You can have customer satisfaction, easiness, simplicity, every kind of thing that make the life of the customer easier, and he's happy. So you are delivering value to him. And for the company, it's money. It can be return on investment, profit, savings, what kind of financial metrics again, total cost of ownership, extra. And for companies that are not profit-oriented, we call them non-profit organizations, their value is just social benefit, right? But I have a question here. As product owners or as product managers, we say in Scrum that the role of a product owner is to maximize value. How you actually maximize value? Is it to maximize this or to maximize this, according to you? Simple question. What do you think? I was supposed to do live drawings, but unfortunately the tablet is not connected anymore. Answer to that question, guys. Someone said the two. Why the two? Explain, please. Explain. Go ahead. Louder. Oh, the mic, yes. Where is the mic? Go for it. No, we want to hear your voices. We want to hear your beautiful voices, please. Someone, go for it. Okay, so according to you, now I'm going to ask you the question directly. According to you, what is maximizing value here? Is it to maximize this or to maximize this? What are your thoughts? Tricky question, right? Mm-hmm. Go for it. Someone said that it's in the middle. Elaborate, please. Elaborate, why? Yes, you have to make money at the same time you have to make your customers happy. I partially agree, partially disagree. We will come back to you. Go ahead.
So, I think in the process of making your customers happy,
That's why I was not agreeing, because you put it the other way around, meaning that if we say that a product owner needs to maximize the value of a product, what do you need to maximize? Do you need to focus mainly on this? If you do that, you are doing what we call revenue extraction, meaning you do all your efforts to extract revenue. I have been in a company in which once we were developing a product, it was to make a newspaper available on a digital app. We were calling it Sen Kiosk, Sen like Senegal, kiosk in Senegal. I was back then a developer developing that app, but one day I was a bit shocked. We were in a room with the product manager. The app was working fine. People were liking it, downloading it. But at one moment, because the company is very profit-oriented, that company is known like that. And the product manager wanted to maximize this. And she said something that, stick to my mind. She said, we are not allowing them to be able to have the newspaper every time. Meaning after they download it once, they read it once, we will make it unavailable. And if they want to download it again, they will pay again. And this made me ask questions. The value you were delivering to your customer was what? To make him read or access to the newspapers without having the paper, meaning with ease. And now you are telling him that he can buy the same paper like he was doing it offline, but this time he needs to pay it back whenever he wants to read it again. I'm not saying that it's a bad or a good strategy. I can't do that judgment. But what I want to share here is that if you focus on this, you may win in the short term, because you probably will win few dollars, few nairas. Naira, your currency? Exactly. But in the long run, you will definitely lose. And I will give you another example with this exact same company. This company built a solution which is around mobile money. Like M-Pesa, you probably know already M-Pesa. When they were in the market, we had back then in 2015, 2 competitors. But that company removed everyone because they are a telecom company, so they are strong and they are directly connected to all the customers. The customer base is large. But they were having fees that are huge. Everyone was complaining. Huge fees that can be sometimes 10%, 20%, something like that. Very expensive. But we couldn't do anything because they were the leader. But a competitor entered the market with very good user experience, a very simple pricing strategy, 1%. Currently, that little player, currently they are in the market and they have more than 80% of market share. What I'm saying that if you focus, what I want to say is that if you focus on this, you will maximize his satisfaction. And what is the impact of this? Definitely you are going to generate revenue, but not the other way around. So revenue extraction is not the same as maximizing value. We are not yet in the steps yet. I want to share here a couple of principles that can help you get to the customer outcome. We don't have. So now let's start exploring the steps I was sharing initially. The first step is what I called set the direction. If you don't have a direction, definitely you are going to lose. What I mean by direction, it's everything regarding strategy. It's everything regarding the product vision. It's everything regarding how you want to be, or in which state you want your product to be in the coming years or in the coming months extra. That's why this code is very interesting. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. The first step for a product manager or product owner is to know his strategy. And part of the strategy is to define your product vision. If you don't have a product vision, definitely you are going to lose. I don't want to ask if we have in the room product owners, because the next question will be, do we have product visions? Right? Because you need to have it. I have seen a couple of product owners, in their context, they are just delivering features. But delivering features without having a direction, it's like the image of the archery I showed you before, meaning picking arrows and throwing. You are going to miss your target, definitely. But to master your vision, there is something that is important in your strategy, which is the customer. I think Fanny explored it very well this morning. You definitely need to know your customer. Why? Because I said in the backlog, not everything is going to be valuable. Put it down. I just started. Thank you. Not everything is going to be valuable. So you need to focus on elements that are linked to the customer needs, customer problems. If your items or your, how to call it, your features, your user stories, whatever you call it, are not solving a real problem to the customer, definitely you are not going to success, right? And the customer, they are the master of their problems. Nobody knows better the problem of a customer than himself. So being on your offices, being on your, nice offices and thinking on behalf of the customer, thinking that everything that is on my mind, all the good ideas I have, I can build. I don't want to use the same lingo like the talk I saw this morning. Good ideas and delivering it is going to be successful. You are going to run out of budget and probably you are not going to create value. So know your customer. Yes, this is something as well which is problematic. When we are talking about strategy vision or customer problem, we are built like that as human beings, and we are even educated like that. You remember when we were in school, when the teacher asks something, automatically everyone raises his hand. Teacher, sir, I have the answer. They give the answer. We are very, how to call it, or even if someone is having problem, someone can step in very quickly and start giving advice, giving solutions. Meaning as human beings, we are creative, yet it's very good, but we like giving solutions. But sometimes our solutions, are they linked to the right problem? That's where the problem is. That's why I do like the Toyota way. I'm working with Toyota, yet I'm not a Toyota expert, Nigel is, but there is something in their way of thinking that is very interesting. That's what they call the framework, TBP, Toyota Business Practice, right? There is something they need to do before tackling a problem. They try to define what is the actual problem. Sometimes they even define the problem with data, with factual data, to confirm that this is a real problem we need to focus on, not just a fake problem or something that is a problem of one person and not the others. So when you are doing this, focus on what we call the problem space. Don't to dig into what we call the solution space, right? I like when I do my product owner trainings, I like to show these images. When you see this image, what do you think about? It's about what? Cereal, very good. What else? Cereal for? Food, yes. Strawberries, someone likes strawberries. Anything else that stand out here? Loudly, please. The bowl, yes. Look at what we put here. Healthy choice. When you see healthy choice, what else do you see that is linked to healthy? The colors probably. The form of the board, which is a heart extra, extra, extra. I once to show it to someone, she told me, I don't like the design. I told him, why? Because it's not very nice. I told him, okay, do you eat healthy? No, I'm not eating healthy, so you are not the customer. What do you mean by that is not, she was not the target here. Look at the other one. When you see this directly, you know that it's for kids. Probably you can have one funny or someone else buying this, probably, but not everyone is going to buy because the target is definitely for kids. Have you ever seen somewhere an advert of Rolls Royce, for instance? You will never see it because Rolls Royce is not talking to me. I can't pay, I can't afford it. So they are not spending their money to market on me. They know their customers. So definitely, you need to set the target, know your customers, know your problem, so that you can deliver the right solution. Second step, what I call define clear goals. Without goals, you can't go anywhere. That's what we call, there is no favorable wind for the sailor who doesn't know where to go. We like to approach goals like we were doing in waterfall. For instance, having a fixed set of steps, what we call our Gantt chart. I think someone talked about this. I think it was Nigel this morning. Right? You want to achieve something, you want to achieve a product outcome, you build your Gantt chart and you want to stick to it. If you do that, you may end up being, again, in the project mindset. That's not what you want, right? So when you want to achieve outcomes, you need to be goal-focused. But when you talk about goals, it's not just about output, it's about outcome and impact. And I will, just to show you very quickly what I'm talking about, right? So let's assume that this is our company, this is a product, and still the client. I like to always draw it like this. Goals can be targeting different layers. There are some things we call activities. What is activity? Stuff we do internally, meaning we do meetings, for instance, our daily meetings, our sprint reviews, all those agile things we know. These are activities we do internally. Does this help us achieve any outcome, or does this help us measure any outcome? Probably not. If you are doing a lot of retrospectives, does it mean that we are an agile company, or we are being performant? Not at all. Unfortunately, you will see in the market agile coaches measuring that. This is only activity, right? There is something else we could output. What is output? For instance, our velocity. You know what is velocity about? How much we are capable of delivering each sprint. That's very good. It's a metric, yes. It's a metric. But does this help us deliver value? Not at all. Having the highest velocity doesn't ensure that you are delivering value at the end. This is only output. I have seen companies measuring something like our percentage of progress, meaning how far we are in our scopes. For instance, we are covering 80% of the scope. It's a good to measure. Very good. But is this linked to value? Not at all. So if in your company, what you are having in your dashboard, your committee, how we call it, steering committees, your COMEX extra, you are following these are not goals. These are outputs. And you are not going to meet value at the end. But that's where the thing starts to be interesting. After output, we have something that is called outcome. What is outcome? Everything that is going to impact the product or the customer. For instance, outcome could be user adoption. Outcome could be user satisfaction, meaning how satisfied my customer are in regards to our product. Outcome could be something else I can give, churn, the churn rate. How many people are leaving our system because probably they are not satisfied, or another solution. Measuring this is interesting. Because if you know that, for instance, 50% of your user base is decreasing from 1 month to another, definitely your thinking is going to be totally different, because this is definitely linked to outcome. The ultimate one is what we could call the impact, the business impact. You will understand why I'm sharing this, because there is a technique I want to share with you that will help you definitely build your backlogs and link it directly to the impact and the outcome. So an impact of it could be something like return on investment. Meaning if we reduce the churn rate, definitely we are going to maximize the chances of having our customers longer in the system. And probably they are going to pay again, so we can have return on investment. This is an impact. We can have another impact, for instance, savings, cost to savings, for instance. Extra, the impact on the organization. So if you want to set goals, that is my second step, define clear goals. When I mean goals, I don't mean activities and output. And I can swear that this is very often. I am currently working with a company based in Morocco. I'm working with with the portfolio management team. They were tackling these kind of metrics. I remember once the CEO, because when I joined, they was sharing me all the stuff, but I knew that these are not working. But I don't want in the very beginning to be in a conflicting mode. This is not working, it's not productive. I let you fail. When you will fail, you will get back to me. So when they do their calculation, how they calculate budgets, a lot of time, blaming people, etc., they want to involve me. I don't enter those discussions. But once during a meeting, the ExCo meeting, steering committee, actually it was a planning meeting, the huge planning meeting, the CEO said something. He said that every time you are asking me during this meeting to give you budget, every time I give you the budget you want, but every time at the end of this cycle, meaning after 3 months, you said 100 of our projects are just in documentation phase. 100 of our projects are being realized. 100 of our projects, meaning nothing is getting out. We are not delivering absolutely anything. So they were targeting goals that were not interesting. Every time coming and showing we are 90% in terms of progress. Yes, okay, but 9% doesn't mean that you have something out. You need to get things out. What my message is, don't focus on measuring these, because there is a trap as well. There is a link between the goals, right? The metrics, how we measure the goals, and the behaviors in the company. If you ask your people just to deliver high velocity, you will get high velocity. There is a famous quote saying, show me how you measure me, I will show you how I behave. If as leaders, you want just people to have high velocity, you will see high velocity. But will you get value? Not at all. But if you are measuring value and ask them, I want to get customers satisfied, they will do their best to get customers satisfied, because that's how you are measuring them. We talked about OKRs extra. All those techniques are, by the way, OKRs, it's in which book? What's the name of the book? The book that vulgarizes, that spread the idea of OKRs. Measure what matters. Measure what matters, that's the name. OKR is the technique, but the principle is the same. Measure what matters, not here, but here. So these are techniques only, focus on principles. Now the third step, I will be done in a few minutes, right? The third step is explore ideas and validate them. Now you know your vision. Now you know your vision. Now you have goals, you have your roadmap, everything, very good. Now you need to start exploring ideas. But what is the only way to know that the customer now has value? There is only one way to know that the customer now is, meaning what we delivered is, I said the term, by the way, meaning that our product is being valuable. What is the only way to deliver it? Meaning, if we are internally working, doing roadmaps, strategizing, sprint planning, retrospectives, whatever we want, PI planning, all the frameworks you want, and you have never released anything on the market, no value is created. So we said what? From idea to value. So to start getting value, you first need to deliver it so that it can be perceived. I called this step, meaning the step of having what I call explore ideas and validate items. At this step, you can start building a product hypothesis backlog. You all know product backlog, but I introduced something in it, hypothesis. Because everything is hypothesis. Why hypothesis? Nothing ensures that this is going to be valuable. I told you this in the beginning. Only 20% of features are used in products, meaning 80% is waste. Everything is hypothesis until it's validated. Now the good question to ask ourselves is, I will ask the question first and come back to this. Is there a way we can spend our budget only on the 20%? That was my promise from the beginning. Is there a way we spend our budget only on the 20%? The bad news is here. We don't have. We don't have. That is the complexity. That's why Google is failing. If we could know, Google won't fail, right? But the good news is that we do have strategies and techniques to test those and validate it. One of them is this, impact mapping. I will go through it very quickly. What is impact mapping? Imagine if you have in your backlog only things that are linked to your actual goals here, I'm not saying here, not goals linked to velocity extra, but goals linked to impact and value, and only features that are linked to your company impact. Definitely, this is a game changer. You can see that many agile teams, product owners, etc., they have idea, probably sometimes they have a vision, yes, probably they have a goal, directly they start creating their ideas of product backlog. But it's only hypothesis. This tool can be very helpful because it helps you map out from the impact you're creating, from the persona, the customer I told you need to know, from which benefit you are planning to deliver to that person. From there you can sort out or get out of that features, user stories, call it whatever you want. Yes, I'm speeding up currently. So this is a tool you can use that can be very helpful, impact mapping. Because remember, in the beginning I told you that we need to know the 20% that can give us value and forget about the waste, the 80%. This will help you. But even with this, it's still hypothesis. You build your backlog with this, very good, it's the first step, but it's still hypothesis. There are some other things that can give us what we could call strong signals. Strong signals that if we deliver this, we probably can deliver value. For instance, this is what we call the truth curve. In the truth curve, you can see different other techniques. Conversations with the client. Let's assume that we have a goal. For instance, we want, our goal, for instance, is, just giving an idea, to help our client be capable of doing XYZ for XYZ benefit. But this is an hypothesis. If you go get to them, you identify them, that's what we were discussing this morning, you start talking with those people, you will have insights. And those insights will give you a signal. In the truth curve, you will see that conversation is giving very small evidence, very small signals, but it's at least a starting point. You do have others like prototyping, like building an MVP. But building an MVP, sometimes when you are startupping, people like to start with building an MVP, but it's already too much because you are spending a budget on that. The goal is to know where to spend so that we spend only on things that matters. That's the goal. I will finish with this, which is very simple. The final one, deliver, learn, and adapt. The problem with the project mindset approach is that we deliver value only once, at the very end of the project. I have seen projects, for instance, with that same company I told you. They build one, because it's mobile money, and in Africa, people are not that familiar with banking institutions. So they tried to create a card, a credit card linked to the mobile money system. They thought it was a good idea. They spent budget on it. They worked on it 3 years. I was in that company. They released it. We tested it. Some people liked it because probably they were part of the target customers. But that project failed. After a few years, no one bought the cards. They were not interested. They like using their mobile phone and going to the distributor to get the cash directly from. So what we need to know here is that waterfall is helping you deliver value only once, and sometimes it's very late. Agile help you to do it iteratively. So deliver iteratively. That's what Fanny shared this morning. This is something that is as well a game changer. I will finish the talk with this. You recognize this? I think it's Lagos. Yeah. I haven't experienced it yet, but I typed in Google, how to call it? I typed in Google, not prioritizing, traffic jump in Lagos, and I saw this. What does this mean? Nigel told it this morning. If you are in a highway, for instance, and all the cars of the highway are ambulances, it means that there is no ambulances. Because the goal of an ambulance is that it sets the priority. He is the car that needs to go first. Everyone is going to follow later. But if in the highway everyone is an ambulance, there is no priority. And companies are working like that. I told you the client I was working with in Morocco, they have a portfolio in which every cycle they plan for around more than 500 projects. Imagine, 500 projects with a limited team. That's impossible, right? So here what I want to show you is just one thing, the impact of prioritization in terms of value creation. Let's just choose 3 examples. Let's choose project A. We assume that the value of project A is, let's say, $1 million or 1 million naira. Naira, okay. No, I would like dollars. I don't know how to write Naira. And let's say that it will take, in terms of effort, for instance, let's say 3 months, right? Project B, value, let's assume $2 million. Effort, let's assume 2 months. Project C, or even feature C within the same product. Value, let's say $3 million. Effort, 1. According to you, which one needs to go first? According to you, which one needs to go first? A, B, or C? You will see with this simulation, this short simulation, the impact of the prioritization. If the first situation is we do no prioritization and we don't deliver, no delivery. Let's see what will be the result. The result will be, if I assume it like this, project A, if we meaning deliver things as we get them, right? Project A, probably we will deliver it, we said in 3 months, right? And value 1. Project B, we deliver it in 2 months, right? Value 2. Project C, we deliver it in 3 months as well. No, in 1 month, value C, 3. What happens after, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months? After 6 months, how much value we have created? We haven't delivered anything. After 6 months, it means that there is $0 million generated. But let's assume after 8 months, what we have created. After 8 months, B, A, and C have been now delivered. They are starting to generate value. So it means, here it's per month. I forgot that, per month. It means that in 2 months, A is creating 1 million per month, meaning 2 million, 4 million here, and 6 million here. What does it mean? 11 million. This is interesting to see. Meaning after 6 months, we haven't delivered anything. This is the final step. Sabrina, this is my final step. Yes. Yes, I will finish with this one. The second step is when now you decide to deliver, but still not prioritizing. We are just delivering, right? What does it mean? We deliver R first. The same situation. We said R, 3 months, 1 million, right? But now we are delivering, it means that R is already in the market. Let's build B, B 2 months, and 2 million. Meanwhile, R is generating 1 million here, 1 million here, right? Let's talk about C. C is delivered on 1 month, 3 million. Meanwhile, R is generating already 1 million here, 1 million here, and B is generating 2 million here, 2 million here. No, it's just 1 month, sorry, we said. Now let's do the same calculation. After 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 months, how much we have generated? How much we have generated? 1, 2, 6, 4, 5. $5 million generated already in 6 months already. This is a huge impact. Meaning only by deciding to do an incremental delivery, the game is changing, right? After 8 months, you will have 11 million more, so you will be at 16 million. The final step is now to see what is the impact of prioritization. You will be amazed with this. This is the final step. So if you decide to do prioritization, instead of doing A, B, C, just randomly as they are coming, I will decide to start with B. Actually, with C, right? So I will build the C. 1 million, 3. After I will build B. B, we said 2 months, 2 million. Meanwhile, how much is generating C? 3 million here, 3 million here, right? After we decide to build A on top of it, right? Meanwhile, 3 million here, 3 million here, 3 million here. B is generating how much? 2 million here, 2 million here, 2 million here. What is the impact? 3 multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much? 15 plus 4. At 6 months, we are at how much? 19. What is the impact? The product manager here did just one thing. Instead of doing A, B, C, he did B, A, C. So the final step is that you don't need to focus on everything at the same time. Deliver incremental priorities. That was my final message. So I have summarized everything here. These are the steps I promised you to get from idea to value, set the direction, define goals, explore ideas, deliver, learn, and adapt. By using all these techniques. Techniques never end, but principles are still there. Thank you. So how excited I am about this conference? Very excited because it's a conference happening in Africa. So we are very used to travel to Europe or other countries to attend to this kind of conferences. Having this similar conference in Africa is something that is very exciting. Being a speaker is something that is exciting as well. And being in panels and discussion with very talented people, great minds, very open-minded people, it is something that is making it very special. And I'm inviting everyone who is interested about agile product development, value creation to attend to this conference.